now I gotta ride or die.
So guys, welcome back to the channel. Today you join me from the driver's seat of a 2010 BMW 335i. It's been a while since we've had one of these on the channel, so I wanted to grab this one, chat to you guys about the ownership experience, and what I've actually picked up today is the best variant of this pre-facelift model, because this one, although being pre-facelift, actually has, of course, the N54 twin-turbo 3-litre up front, but it has the DCT gearbox from a LCI or facelift version of this 335. There's only around 174 in the world, or in the UK, of this model, because it was a crossover. That makes it relatively hard to find in a way. Finding a pre-facelift but with that DCT gearbox, interesting combo. But if you do like this style of video, please give it a like, subscribe if you haven't, but onwards to the B roads. We're interrupting today's video to give a massive thank you to today's sponsor, Yes Auto. Yes Auto is the one-stop shop for buying any car, with an experience that's always easy and enjoyable. Navigating onto the website, you can select each brand that you want to look at, each model, and even down to colour variant. You can also select through the images, as well as looking at brand new cars in 360 degrees inside and out. I myself spend a lot of time just looking at cars for sale, so it's awesome to jump on the Yes Auto website to have a look at cars for sale. You can even do a smart search on new and used cars with an option to select cash price or monthly costs. Their aim is to make car buying easy and enjoyable. Yes Auto are the one-stop shop offering a simple, impartial way to configure and compare new and used cars from almost any manufacturer, with a whole load of clever tools and media content for total reassurance. Once again, a huge thank you to Yes Auto for sponsoring today's video. There is a link in the description to the Yes Auto website. Thank you so much again to Yes Auto for sponsoring today's video, but let's get back to the action. The N54 twin turbo engined 3-litre displacement 335, an absolute wonder of a machine. The new version of a 2JZ is what people were really saying when this car came out, and I think they probably still say it now. The amount of power you can actually get out of these, you know, just over 300 brake horsepower from the factory, but this one has a stage 1 map and some air filters. It's running about 380 brake horsepower with the current map, so it's actually gained, near as makes no difference, 80 horsepower just from a remap. Now this one is an interesting one, because yes, I'm going to go straight into the ownership idea of you owning this. Little wiggle from the rear end there. 380 horsepower in this BMW coupe shape is such a good time. But yeah, this one, you can pick these up cheap. 5, 6, 7 grand I've seen them for, with, you know, 150,000 miles. And I'm always going to be the guy that tells you not to buy that car. Although it's a deal, although it's a fantastic car, this one today I'm in is probably the best version of the 335 you're going to be able to buy. This one today is around, it's going to be over 10, let's say 12, at a sort of ballpark figure that you'll be paying for a 335 with, you know, around 60,000 miles on it. with really good condition, no good service history. This one has had some problematic things already done, like the injectors that have been changed for the newer generation injectors that have been put in the newer generation of the N54. So there's all receipts, and that's about £2,000 to actually get that done. An actuator play and rattle, this one hasn't got it. Again, another thing you're going to want to look out for if you're going to buy one of these. And boost solenoids, they seem to go quite a lot. I've had a look on the owners clubs, and that seems to be another thing you need to watch out for. But problems aside, what you get out the other side is a horrendously good value for money product from BMW, which actually made its way onto BMW Car Magazine front cover, as in this exact car made its way onto the front cover of that BMW Car Magazine. And basically they're chatting about the E46 M3 and the 335i being the relatively, you know, same price. This one today I'm driving is, you know, in the same ballpark as, you know, maybe not a proper nice, you know, Laguna Seca Blue manual one that everybody seems to want, but it's going to be the same sort of value, you know, over 10, around 12, maybe 13 at a push, as an E46. Now, we're not going to pitch those cars together today. It's an interesting combo, though, because this is obviously a newer car. It's able to take more power mods more quickly. Yes, you still have a few teething problems here and there, as you do with many BMWs these days, but I don't think that's nothing to really turn your nose up at if you're actually going to buy one of these. You just need to look for a good one. There's enough of them out there, and the owner of this one, she's got some power, this thing. The owner of this one actually waited, you know, and looked properly for around 4 to 5 months to make sure he was buying the right one, and actually physically walked away from a few that had the actuator rattle and various other things that he wasn't too happy with. But because, again, the market is flooded with cars like this, you can go and pick and choose the one you really want. This one inside has pretty much the highest spec you could get in the 335i. It's even got the bigger, newer iDrive in front of me, which, again, I'm going to tell you guys to go and try and find and buy. It might be a little bit more money, but it's so much nicer. The pixels and just the display is so much better than the previous generation iDrives. I just think there's a lot of value for money in one of these. An E92 M3, they're becoming very cheap, but if you buy one for about 12 grand, it's gonna have problems. You need to spend, you know, north of 15, 16, 17 to get yourself in a nice one. There is some out there, don't get me wrong, that you can buy a lot cheaper, which, you know, might just be being offloaded by the owner for cheap, you don't know. But until you go and drive and experience those cars, I've driven an 18 grand, you know, E92 that is the perfect version of the E92. Today I'm driving what I believe to be the perfect version of the 335 in a pre-facelift form. And that's what we're really talking about here, the best versions of a car you actually want to buy, not just, you know, pitching them against each other. If you want an E46 M3, I don't think I could talk you into a 335, because it hasn't got the M badges, it hasn't got the wider wheels and wider rear arches and all this other stuff. God, fast this for 380 horsepower. It's funny, you have to rev this. Such a rewarding experience when it sort of kicks a little bit more. Again, I've owned Aristos, the 2JZ twin turbo, and you had to rev second turbo to come in, and that's sort of how it feels in here. I couldn't talk you into not buying an M car if you want an M car, but this is a great comparison in that sense. If you were, you know, interested in a 335 and you don't want to go for a 335D, which we have done, if you want to go have a look at that video, you can. It's up on the channel that we did, you know, 6, 7, 8 months ago. This is another version of that car where that was relatively cheaper. This is, you know, more expensive, don't get me wrong, but what you get out the other side is a car that is gonna, in my opinion, hold its value. I do think they hold their value very well. If you keep it maintained and nice, just like this one is being maintained meticulously by its owner. And I think if you don't want to jump in that E92, you want the idea of you being able to get more power out of these. You know, if you go stage 2, you know, well north of 400 horsepower very easily in these cars. If you want to single turbo them and go crazy, you know, like other people on the internet say, Adam LZ has gone mad on his 700 horsepower out of his one. You know, that's the reality of that. You would then have to, if you really wanted to, which we've done on the channel, a supercharged E92. That's the only way you're really able to get loads of power out of that. And it is loads of money. It is loads of money to try and get supercharging on an E92 So if you don't want to go down that route, and you don't really want your E46 M3, this I'm driving today is the best example of a performance German coupe, and I'm driving the best version of it, in my opinion. That's the way I see it. I'm driving the best version of the car that you could go and easily buy. Tax is around £30 a month. Me and the owner were chatting about this literally just a minute ago. This one though, and I will point out again, ownership perspective of this car is around 17 to 18 mpg when you're enjoying yourself. Today we're doing 16.9, so 17 mpg on this little roundabout trip around a B road. And again, you can buy one for 5 to 6, 7 grand, but make sure, you know, the actuators and all the other various stuff is done properly and there's receipts with it. Insurance wise, it's actually group 39, I've just found out. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys. Leave a comment below, let me know what your thoughts are on buying a 335 over maybe an E46 M3, but they are going up in price, so I would probably go for the E46, but I would enjoy driving this over any of the others because I can modify it, because I can get more out of the car that I'd physically bought. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. If you did like this video, again, give it a like, subscribe if you haven't. I'll see you all on the next one.